Hi, Sephora here today talking with you about my three main obsessions that I have experienced over my borderline experience. So, borderline people do obsess over things, and some of them are very common among all of us, and others might be more rare per person. So I have chosen three of my main obsessions and I will share them with you, along with a list that I've written down of the general other obsessions that people might experience. So my first one, which is very time consuming, is TV shows or movies. So the way I would obsess over this would be watching a series, regardless of how many episodes are in each season, and then I would finish it, come to an end, and feel almost like a lacking or something. So I would restart the series just to kind of get back in that those characters in that world. And this would happen with movies as well. I had my main movies are like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and TV shows. There's a few that I would cycle through, and what I would notice is each time I would watch the series again or the movie again, I would find myself kind of like focusing on a different character each time and seeing how they react and how they respond, and notice that had watched it so many times that I would then be picking up different things from the world, the environment, the characters, and so on. And this is something that I imagine that other borderlines do experience. I know that this is something that they experience. So TV shows and the obsessive, like I would be at work wanting to come home and watch it. I would want to stop hanging out with my friends and just watch it. It was like a comfort zone, a comfortable thing to be in that environment. And so again, whenever it would come to an end, I'd feel almost sad or something, and I would really just like start it right over again. This would happen with the movies or the TV series. As well as if I was in the middle of a movie series like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings or something, if I started one of the movies and then wasn't able to finish it and then came back to it a few days later, I would restart it just from the beginning just to kind of like get into that world again. So this would be one of my main obsessions that I had experienced. So the next one I've written is foods. So what I mean by this is not binge eating or anything like that, but getting in the habit of the same food all the time. And a couple examples is like, and it's weird examples, like I would eat spinach sauteed with garlic and red chili flakes, and this would be something I would eat every night. It's like I would get into the habit of one certain type of food and just be obsessive over it. This happened with vanilla chai lattes from Starbucks as well. It was like a daily constant thing. And another thing is iced coffees. So anything that I would just get in the habit of, I would want every single day, sometimes multiple times throughout the day. Just different types of foods, different obsessions, and it would just be continuous until I stopped. And then I didn't even care about that food anymore. So that is one of my other obsessions that I did experience. The third one is conspiracies. So this means I would be just going down the rabbit hole in the internet and looking through all sorts of conspiracies, including flat earth and so on. And it's not necessarily that I would believe the conspiracy. I just got so interested in it that I would want to see whatever was said about it, whatever the conspiracy was, and I would get so into it that it would be as if I believed it. But it was more just because I was so fascinated that these things exist. So flat earth, I've gone all through that. Different cults, the Illuminati, different types of conspiracies, and I would get so into it. it would just consume my time, and I would start talking to people about it, and they would start thinking I believe it, but it's just because I find it fascinating and something to obsess over. So that would be my 3. And I just want to share those with you because I think that with BPD people, we tend to have these habits, these obsessions, and so on. And I just wanted to let you guys know and see if you relate to any of them, as well as these ones that I'm going to be reading off. So this is like general that I've gathered over time, over working with people, working with myself, and just the investigations that I do. So obviously with a favorite person, an FP, this is something that we would obsess over, and I think that's kind of self-explanatory to most BPD people what an FP is. Maybe I'll make another video about FPs because it's an interesting topic. Being obsessed with time-based things, being overwhelmed if something goes awry and not to schedule or according to plan. When plans are changed, this is a huge one for me too, that it could be like an overwhelming dread almost when something goes slightly out of plan or not how you expected it. Something about just not having things go the way you thought they would go is an overwhelming type of obsessive thought. Obsessively apologizing, feeling like you've done something wrong, asking what's wrong, trying to ask what are you thinking, what are you feeling type thing, because we do feel that neutral expressions are negative. So obsessing over what the other people are feeling or thinking or doing is also something. This can be on social media or in real life or whatever. Binge spending. So this is when getting into the habit of just like buying things. I would do this on Amazon a lot. With DVDs, or Blu-rays, I guess, I ended up doing this quite a lot. So binge spending frivolously would be something that I think many BPD people know. And this can be depending on where we're at in our moods. Obsessing over crushes. So this is not an FP necessarily, but obsessing over crushes or catching feelings for people and kind of like just going off with it. Music. This is something that I had as well, and it was listening to the same song over and over again. If the song got cut off, I would have to start from the beginning and listen to it fully, things like that. Obsessively getting into hobbies, so just choosing different hobbies. Me personally, I got into soap making, essential oil stuff, sculpting, and just different hobbies that one can get obsessed with and then totally drop it as well. So this is kind of the list. I'm sure there's others, so feel free to leave in the comments what your obsession is or what you've heard other borderlines obsessions are. I'm curious to see how relatable these are and how much more there are out there, because I do know that this is something we all have experienced or do experience still. So thank you for listening, and I am happy to be sharing this with you, learning from you, and continue sending us your questions, sending us your comments, and look forward to seeing you in the next video.